Hello, folks, and welcome back, your friendly neighborhood Chatcaster Sharkins, back on the caster's desk, and I am joined now by the RLS's war leader.
Happy to be here.
Awesome. Well, it's really glad to have you here. So, looks like we got a kind of exciting matchup coming up here. We got SEAL Team Chris versus In the Trees. I have a feeling that there is a strong possibility that SEAL Team Chris can actually pull out a win here.
I mean, they've been looking really hot recently, especially ever since they've picked up I'm soloing, or as on the graphic, I'm not soloing. They've honestly looked really solid, and teams have had to... Basically, the only way to stop him has been completely banning him out. Whenever he's got one of his three main champions, he's been dominant, and it looks like In the Trees is actually going to test out his Yone again.
It looks like they're risking the Yone getting through on these first three picks, so we'll have to see if he ends up picking him up, and we'll have to see if he ends up pulling out the Nightbringer skin, because, I mean, how awesome would that be? But at the same time, I'm really thinking that we're going to be looking forward to seeing what happens in this bot lane, because that's going to be where like the big plays are going to make the difference across the board with Songo versus Jeffes.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we've seen both of these supports do quite a bit for their teams, and they'll definitely be taking a lot of the weight. Looks like we're going to see Jarvan for Bow Explode, and yep, there's the Yone, going to immediately pick up for I'm Soloing. He looked really good on this champion the last time he got to play it. So
right.
INT should definitely be worried.
It is always one of those funny things, I think, where it's like you go, hey, they're letting me pick my main. Let's totally just like jump right into it. And I feel like some teams don't really think about, wait, they're letting me pick my main. What are they planning?
That could definitely be true. It hasn't been something that's stopped him in the past. But they also haven't played a team quite like In the Trees, so we'll have to see what that plan is, because I'm sure they had one to not make that choice.
Yeah, and I was saying the other day that I really feel like Songo does best when they're on Enchanter supports, like of that sort of style. Like I really, for whatever reason, I just don't feel like the Nautilus, Blitzcrank, Leonas are really like their particular style. So picking up the Rakan here, I think, is a really good idea, because even though he is a engager, he's more of a secondary engage, and he does have the ability to kind of jump in, jump out, and I kind of classify him as like halfway between, and he's performed very well on it. With the pickup of the Akshan, though, for In the Trees, that is going to provide a little bit of scariness to them, where if you have too many squishies on the side of SEAL Team Chris, whoever gets the kill is possibly going to just get popped by Akshan, and that just means the person comes right back.
Yeah, they very clearly like this mid lane mashup with Akshan into Yone. I'm not too familiar with it myself, but Akshan has proven to be a pretty strong pick, and we'll have to see what I'm Soloing does into it.
I kind of feel like it's a little bit of an advantage for Akshan, just because I feel like his gap closer is a little bit better as a engage/disengage, because Yone is always going to be going in with his. So there's really only so much you can do with it, and I kind of feel like it's favored in Akshan. Picking up the Lucian here, though, does mean, in theory, it's unlikely, but in theory, they could take the Akshan, put him in the bot lane, and put the Lucian in the mid lane, which I think would decimate the Yone.
It's possible. Recently, Lucian received nerfs to his solo laning, so I'm not sure if he still functions in the solo lane. It's not like, as a jungler, I just haven't tested that out. So it's a possibility, but I'm not sure how well it's going to work. I definitely like the matchup into Yone, though. As we move into Phase 2 of bans, it looks like Camille is going to be a takeaway from CLT.
I do personally think that it's more of an unlikely scenario. Just, it's kind of one of those things like, maybe with Sharigan's theory crafting in Silver, maybe there's something that can be done there.
Sure. We're actually going to see Warwick taken away from SEAL Team Chris. I wonder if that's just... I mean, I guess when you're into a jungler called Woof Woof and you don't know what to ban, taking away the dog is probably not a bad call. And
but you see they have left the Cog Dog out still, so they could potentially pick it up, but I don't think Cog Jungle works anymore.
I know what I'm doing later tonight.
See? Sharigan Silver theory crafting. It's a thing. I'm gonna make it a thing.
We're going to see Woof Woof actually pick up the Diana, which I think works really well with the Rakan. Rakan being a primary engage and Diana being a very powerful secondary engage. Combine it with the Wombo of Yone and you have a pretty strong team fighting composition.
Yes, I actually really like that a lot, just because, like, with it, like you said, with the Yone, I feel like the Yone would be the primary engage in this instance, just because you ult in, dive, knock up a bunch of them, hit them with the Q from Diana, dive in there, pull them all in with the Moon, and then you just knock them all up so they stick around.
Yeah, the Sejuani pick from In the Trees is super interesting because it implies that either the Jarvan or the Sejuani could be going top, maybe support. And that's going to be really interesting because it's definitely not going to be one of their traditional roles. I know that Jarvan top has been becoming a little more popular, but to throw it into your opponent's blind is going to be interesting. But actually, with the Kennen pickup, it's kind of... I think that's going to be a Kennen top Sejuani jungle Jarvan support.
I think it's a Jarvan support in this instance. Just the nature of the champions that they have picked here, I really feel like Jarvan would fit better in the bot lane with the Lucian, just because you would provide the lockdown for pretty much all members in that Cataclysm for Lucian to just hit with his Lightbringer. I do think, though, that something that's really interesting to point out, is that Sejuani did actually get a slight buff this patch. So her Q is a little bit lower cooldown and does deal a little bit more damage. So that might help out with this jungle versus most likely Diana. And I think that'll be kind of interesting to see.
For sure, especially seeing as Sejuani has only one melee teammate worth.
That's potentially going to be an issue.
And I'm seeing in the chat from Red that Jarvan's flag actually grants Lucian his new buff passive. So that's actually a really solid synergy.
That is exceptionally good synergy, yeah. So it's definitely going to be a Jarvan support, so we'll have to be seeing that. With that, we're probably ready to just hop onto the Rift and just kind of get going on this.
Yeah, both of these compositions are super interesting. I'm always afraid when I see Sejuani without a melee mid laner, and especially with a ranged top laner, we're really going to have to see what Bow Explode is able to accomplish on this pick. But other than that, it's hard to figure out where to look this game.
I agree. I think the bot lane is going to be the most interesting place to look because, like we have mentioned, the banner actually providing the passive for Lucian. I do also want to say that, like, in terms of melee champs, I feel like technically Jarvan's like a 1.5, 1.25 champion, melee champion, because for Sejuani, because you have that amplified attack speed boost, so you are getting those autos a little bit quicker. So
very true.
It could work.
Yeah, I'm definitely not saying it's impossible. And
absolutely not.
Yeah, Sejuani can work without any other melees on our team. It's just that she's especially scary with it. So we're going to have to see as this game goes on. We've got a pretty quiet level 1 coming out. Not too much fancy stuff happening. It looks like we're going to see Woof Woof starting on the red buff, and Bow Explode will match. So we'll see both junglers clear to the opposite side. I'm expecting Sejuani to probably 5 camp clear up to the top side, and we'll see Diana. I would think if Woof Woof knows how to do the 6 camp clear, we're going to see her full clear down.
Yeah, that would be my expectation. And so, like, we'll have to see exactly how it plays out. I do like the Diana starting on the top side so that they're working way down bot to try and get those early ganks off. Potentially ganking onto Yone a little bit earlier with red buff, which would be really useful against this Akshan.
Yeah, we're seeing Akshan bully Yone a little bit early, but also not picking up the CS, so just denying as much to himself as to his opponent so far.
And we have the sweeper started in the bot lane, so they're basically just trying to get it to where they can hide in these bushes as much as they want. And that's going to mean that, unfortunately, STC is going to have to play towards River, which could be very bad for them if the Sejuani is able to sneak their way down.
Yeah, vision control, especially on the bottom side of the map.
Jeff is getting that auto attack damage, and that was just a huge chunk of Rakan's health that goes away right there. Look at it again!
Wow. Yeah, the Jarvan's putting out so much damage. We know Jarvan does so much damage early, and we're seeing that Jeff is able to get it off as a support, which is pretty impressive to see how it's going down in this early game.
Yeah, honestly, I think Jarvan support is one of those ones you do need coordination with your allies, but I think is a really, really strong support in a lot of ways because it does it's providing you that extra damage where you're basically of the philosophy, I'm supporting my ADC by making sure that they don't get hurt because the enemy's dead.
Yeah, it's definitely a type of support. And as we are getting into this game, we're starting to see these junglers finish their clears. Sejuani has finished the 5 camp clear. Diana's just about to finish that 6 camp clear. Pretty heavy trading.
Look at that stun from Brock Lee.
Yeah, we're seeing Brock Lee put out a lot of damage into this top side. And, you know, a lot of Shen's strength does come from level 6. But so does Kennen, so we'll actually have to see how these ultimates get used. They both have the potential to completely decide how team fights go. So as much as we're going to be looking in other spots at the beginning of the game, although they might look to dive, Trulax is taking a lot of damage.
It's getting just so much damage onto Trulax. Trulax is like, he's basically going to go down here. We already see there's the dive. Nice knockup. That is going to be a blocked auto attack, though. Flash is coming out from both sides. Bo Explode's going to be the one who actually ends up going down first, though, and that's going to be first blood going over to Trulax.
Yeah, really well played from the side of Trulax to dodge Sejuani's engage. And also a bit of a blunder from the side of Brock Lee, who tries to flash on top of Trulax to secure a stun and doesn't quite find it. So we're actually going to see a trade of flashes in the top side, in addition to the kill picked up for Trulax. So really very negative play for the side of INT.
I would completely agree with that statement, especially because now that we have the Yone coming up here onto this Kennen and the fight going on in the bot lane, like that's kind of one of those things where you're going to see Kennen pushed off. Shen's going to get a free. He's going to be able to back. He's going to be able to TP back to lane. Diana. He's going to have some items. Diana is working their way down bot side.
Actually forces out Jeff's flash there, so pretty solid gank for minimal time investment. Exactly what you want to see.
Except for the fact that we've got Sejuani sitting up here in the wings, looking to kind of re-gank the dive now that Diana's already left.
Yeah, but both Rakan and Tristana have pretty significant escape tools. They have their summoners up, so it's not going to be too much at risk. They're going to kind of sniff the play out. They like where the wave's at. They're going to reset.
Yeah, getting that reset's going to be really nice for them. It's going to just end up pushing itself back out towards the middle of the lane, which is going to allow them to not miss out on too much XP. Actually, sorry, it's going to get frozen right in front of the bot side tower. Bo Explode taking advantage of this missing bot lane, though, in order to try and sneak this Mountain Drake. Really good idea. Get those extra resistances onto Sejuani so that the frozen armor does even more for him. And then you're also just going to be able to make the rest of your team just that much more, a little bit more tanky, which against the damage that's potentially going to be coming out from this STC is going to be very big. Good flash to avoid the Songo knockup from the grand entrance. That's going to be Evolved Noob. Flash is down. They do have Ignite instead of TP, though, which both of these mid laners have because they want to fight and they want to get these kills.
We're seeing a fight in the top lane, but Brock Lee is level 6.
Yep, we got a nice level 6 engage right there. Trulax is taking a lot of damage from all of those shurikens. They are going to survive, which is good. And we have the engage here in the mid lane on Diana. Diana diving in. We got the final stand coming out. That is going to be a kill picked up by Woof Woof. Right there, that is the combo of the Diana Yone that's going to be just really devastating on these later team fights.
Yeah, really solid by Woof Woof to immediately get on top of Evolved Noob so he can't just hook shot away. Very well played to secure that kill. And the Diana has started off quite strong.
They have started off strong. The thing is, though, they are an assassin. So that means that as this game progresses, it's going to be more difficult for them to get onto these tankier targets. So like the Jarvan and the Sejuani are going to be really, really tricky for them to fight against without the rest of the team. And even with the rest of the team, they won't be able to burst them down. So they'll have to try and get onto the Akshan and try and get onto the Lucian. But both of them are just so slippery.
Diana's a really weird assassin, though, because she has both dashes and a very impactful AoE CCing ultimate. The way she really wants to play these fights is that she wants someone else to be the primary engage, and then she will take her Q and her free dash on top of one of these frontliners and use the second dash to hit onto these critical targets. And that's what makes Diana so deadly, is that even though she's an assassin, she doesn't need to look for super creative angles to decide team fights.
Very, very true. That's it's basically you become a utility bot at that point, and it's the rest of your team providing most of the damage, even though you do provide quite a bit of it. Right here, True Lax in the top lane just getting lightning bolted by multiple sources right there. We have now hit Bow Explode jumping on top of the Yone. Yone taking a lot of damage. I am soloing, trying to fight this off. He is not quite able to solo. He misses he misses his Q. That's a lot of damage that's going to be missed out right there. He's going to have to dive back from the Spirit Veil, but we already have Wolf right here to continue this fight. They're able to pull them in, getting the ulti off from Diana. That's a lot of damage from the Moon Blasts, and that is going to be an easy pick up of a couple of kills. They could be looking to gank this top lane or go straight for Rift Herald. It looks like they're kind of doing a split decision. Yone kind of zoning, hitting off.
Yeah, there was
good flash by Rakan right there.
Yeah, big fight in the bot lane with both the Culling and the Cataclysm coming out, significantly chunking the level 5 members of STC's bot lane. The response, though, is going to be up in the top lane with Wolf and Trulax working together, pick up that Rift Herald, and they're looking towards the mid lane.
Get that mid lane cracked open, get themselves a nice bit of pressure relief, and that is just going to allow STC to start moving on up in this league.
For sure. If they secure a win here over INT, they actually put themselves in a really good spot for playoffs. I believe that would tie them with Coin Flip Gaming and really give them a shot. So a win here would be really big for CF.
We might be having another fight here. Wolf is getting spotted out by Evolve Noob and Bow Explode. Evolve Noob is about to go in on that, but cancels at the last possible second.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was just a little wide and it looked strange, or if they decided against it, not quite knowing that the members of STC were actually in their base. Either way, though, it looks like Wolf's going to get away with the steal of the Raptor camp, so that's going to be another solid lead going over to Diana. We're seeing her pick up a pretty reasonable CS lead over the Sejuani, maybe not as much as I would have expected, considering Diana's clear speed, but also she's been much more accessible around the map. So,
she has a couple more ganks that have been able to be a little bit more impactful, so they picked up 2 extra kills, which puts them in a pretty decent lead right there. Good Q in by I Am Soloing as they go into that Spirit Veil, getting a decent amount of damage onto Akshan, but unfortunately he's just going to heal most of it back up.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too big. I think a lot of the action in terms of these two mid laners fighting each other is going to be over outside of these junglers applying their crowd control ultimates to try and pick up a kill. But in general, I think both of these mid laners should be able to establish enough vision control to not get too caught out by that. Evolve Noob is a pretty solid escape. Yep. But I might just be
there we go.
wrong.
Soul Unbound as I Am Soloing is just trying to seal the fate of Evolve Noob. So much damage coming out right here. They are diving kind of under turret, and I have a frozen screen on my end, so I didn't get to see some of that, unfortunately.
Yeah, it looks like even though the Ignite goes down, Evolve Noob is just able to survive the incoming onslaught, and I'm Soloing is forced back to his body. And as a result, it's going to be Evolve Noob taking it back. Not too much loss from I'm Soloing, just the Ignite Summer spell.
Yeah, unfortunately, like my screen froze right as the fate sealed fate or whatever was coming out, so I didn't get to see most of that. I'm gonna have to take your word on it.
Yep, I didn't get to see it either, so that's just
okay.
That's me extrapolating from the
same boat. All right,
all good as we get back into a smooth flow of this one. We're seeing that Bow Explode is looking for some action in the bottom side, but I'm Soloing is here in the top side.
Yeah, like I like this cross-play ganking. Like basically we're seeing Yone constantly going top lane, basically ignoring bot lane, because Sejuani's always down there. So like, you know what? I'm just gonna gank where the jungler isn't. I don't know if that's just because they have been reading where the jungler is. Wolf has been spending a lot of time in these jungles though, so it kind of makes sense. Again though, we have Bow Explode trying to sneak this Windrake, and now that the Windrake's gonna go down, that's provide more mobility across the map. But they are getting exceptionally low, so they probably need to smite. There we go. Smite coming out right there to get it just barely.
Yeah, that's exactly what you need to do as soon as you see the other team make a play, especially on the other side of the map. You know that Yone's top, you know that Shen is recalling. Probably not going to be able to make a play onto the Dragon. Bot lane at that time was about in the middle of the lane, so both lanes could get there. So that's the kind of move that you need to make. When your opponent is making a play, you need to respond, and as a result, we're going to see INT with 2 dragons.
Yep, INT, 2 dragons. The next one's already on soul point. That's really, really quick. We have Jarvan coming in. Nice knock up. Look at that interaction right there as Gohan gets knocked up in the middle of their jump, but that's going to be a couple of flashes, meaning the culling comes out. We have the ult from Shen as well, and that is going to be keeping them alive. There we go. Glacial Flail coming out, but it's going to get that kill onto Gohan. This Bow Explode is able to pick up a double kill. Woof Woof getting into a really bad spot. They're going to get stunned right here as the Everfrost just breaks them down. And that is going to be a nearly very bad gank or very bad engage on the side of INT that just completely flipped around in both directions.
Yeah, so it starts with Gohan actually getting caught out with the Flagon Drag. That's not CC you can necessarily buffer the same as others. Yep. Oh, but in the mid lane.
There we go. In the mid lane, we have the Unbound Soul just sealing the fate of Akshan, and he is gone.
Yeah, Evolved Noob has not been having a good time this game. Now has died 3 times to the combination of Woof Woof and I'm Soloing. Really struggling in this matchup. We're seeing I'm Soloing show why this is a champion that they're willing to prioritize early and often.
We can definitely see why I Am Soloing loves this champion. He's very good at getting these solo kills and able to keep this mid lane pressured as much as possible. He needs to be able to start transferring that across the map more. We've seen him help out top lane a lot. Top lane has done very, very well. It's this bot lane that's been kind of sort of struggling, and I say kind of sort of struggling because there's only been 3 deaths so far. Oh, the Flagon Drag knocking up Gohan as he just kind of appears out of nowhere, and unfortunately for Jeffas, they were kind of prepared for that, and that's a lot of damage coming out onto Jarvan. He is going to survive, though, getting out. Gohan jumping away to survive as well. The culling is going to be just short. Songo deciding to give up his life, but unfortunately it's not going to matter as we see Lucian just dash in and finish him off.
Yeah, wow. Just very good call by INT. I thought initially they were going to lose Jeff for it, but in terms of the map rotations, Evolved Noob was on the way, and with that long-range ultimate, those are the kind of things you can do with that range advantage. So even though it looks like it's initially a 1v2, Lucian shows up, it's a 2v2, but really, with Akshan over the wings, it's kind of a 3v2.
It kind of is. Look at that. We got another Mortal Steel knockup right there. That is just... We are seeing I Am Soloing put in some work in this mid lane.
Absolutely. And you can see it in the CS lead that I'm Soloing is up almost 60 CS, which should put...
Oh, there he is, going in once again. Evolved Noob getting exceptionally low. The Sealed Fate means that he's going to be able to get out, though. He is going to get caught by the Cataclysm. But unfortunately, Jarvan, you are building support, so that means you are very far behind in items.
Yeah, you just can't take that fight, even though it looks like the Yone is really low between the shield bow, fleet footwork. There's so much like secret tankiness to this Yone, and on just a Warhammer and
look, see, Soloing's just not done with this yet. He's going into Evolved, getting a lot of damage off, but not enough to shred him completely. This mid lane turret, though, is very close to going down.
Yeah. So something I was going to say earlier is that the 60 CS lead in... Oh, but I don't get
but the fight is still going. We have Diana diving in right there. The Moon Strike is just going to take him down, and that is going to be a dead cannon in the top lane, which is just going to leave this Rift Herald going right over to STC.
Yeah, we're seeing STC really respond back with some great plays across the map, finding kills in mid lane and top lane, is going to add to this 1,000 gold lead they've accumulated for themselves. So the point that I've now tried to say for the 3rd time that I'll try and get off in this little interim moment.
Yeah, 15 seconds.
So the Yone is about 60 CS, so normally that would be an absolutely massive advantage just across the team, but also Trulax on the Shen is down to 60 CS, so really it's making up for the difference on the top lane. Now, Trulax has been a lot more involved around the map, and as a result is getting a lot of getting gold from kills and CS. But Woof Woof is going to get caught
there we go. Woof Woof getting caught up by the Glacial Flail. He's going to be frozen, but he's going to get it away. And then we have the Yone coming in as well. I Am Soloing getting a lot of damage off this. Kennen is exceptionally low, having to go golden just to stay alive. But the damage coming out from INT is absolutely massive, and they just completely shred the rest of STC. Akshan gets himself a kill, taking out one of the scoundrels, and that is going to basically be a very, very bad fight that STC shouldn't have taken.
Yeah, and because of the 2 dragons that went down earlier, this is going to be soul point now for INT, and with Ocean Soul, it's a deadly one at that, so very good move by INT. taking advantage of STC overstaying, and as a result, they are now on Ocean Soul Point. A very critical moment is going to be in 5 minutes, when we'll see if they can secure it.
Yes, they will be in a very interesting spot at that point. I do see, again, this is the same issue we saw last time with Akshan, where he was throwing out those boomerangs and they don't deal a lot of damage. So it's really hard for him if he falls behind. He hasn't even finished his mythic yet. All he's got is the Noon Quiver and the pickaxe, so we're getting closer to that shield bow, but he's still not quite there.
It's actually going to be a Kraken Slayer.
Kraken Slayer.
Complete it right there. Yeah, because normally Akshan maxes E in lane for the damage and just being able to get on top of someone and burst them down, but when the lane's not going your way and you've maxed this ability that's really only good for all-ins, then your wave clear is going to be low.
Henan getting caught out, but the dash is going to just be short as Trulux is not quite able to hit it. We have a nice Q as the Diana is able to jump on there, but they're going to get stunned and knocked away. The Bumblebee taunt, though, is they're kind of like, hey, you still want to do this? Because I'm willing to go. Y'all can't do squat to me.
Yeah, they send 4 people up. I'm not sure they needed to send that many there because they still don't secure anything more than the Cannon Flash and the Slicing Maelstrom on cooldown. I really like how Wolf was playing this Diana. I think that if the Proto Belt had been used a little later, would have had it to secure Kennen later in the fight because the Lunar Rush was still off of cooldown. Because the main thing that you look for when you watch a Diana player is you want to see not how they use their other abilities, but mainly it's the second E.
Flash Charm as we have Rakan diving in. He gets caught in the Cataclysm, but that's not going to matter. He's just going to flash right out of it, keep on going. We see that Jarvan gets taken out from a distance, and that's going to be Tristana picking up a shutdown as they take down Lucian as well. That was very well done by the SEAL team, Chris.
Yeah, just really well done finding people out of position. Songo being the one to pull the trigger gets them a big advantage, and now they're shoving down mid lane. Should be able to pick up this inner turret, but I'm soloing might find Bow Explode.
He's looking for it, but he found the Wolf instead, but that's perfectly all right as they pick up this mid lane turret. They have done a really good job of focusing on the top side objectives. Basically, they've gotten all of the Scuttles, all of the Rift Heralds. While they've been giving up these Drakes, it kind of like, it's unfortunate. It is putting them behind in terms of resistances and tankiness and things of that nature. But they have just done such a good job of cracking this mid lane open that they've essentially made it to where any pressure INT tries to put with that lead, null.
Yeah, the turrets that they've accumulated, especially in mid, but also in bot, should be a big service to them as they look towards this Ocean Soul. This is going to be a pretty big turning point if INT does decide to fight for it, and I do think that they would. So we're probably going to see a lot of the next 2 minutes actually play out towards setting up for this big fight. A lot of wards going down, a lot of vision being fought over, and I would guess not a lot of ultimates being used, but this game so far has been quite bloody, so maybe they decide to pull the trigger on a pick.
We will have to see if they take this fight early enough. It will mean that they will have some of their ultis back before the dragon is actually up. But unfortunately, once we hit this 1 minute 15 second mark, then it's going to become very, very tight.
Yeah, for sure. Right now, especially with the towers down, STC has been able to establish mid control and mostly ward control throughout the river, and they're going to knock down this top turret right about 1 minute and 15 seconds before dragon spawns. Should give them plenty of time to take a reset, spend that gold, and get on to the important part of the map for the big fight ahead.
Yes, it was really well done on the side of Gohan in the top lane. We have a nice dive in here as Evolved Noob looking for an engage, doesn't quite find it, and we have good disengage from Akron and Shen.
Yeah, it was disrupting their recalls, which is actually pretty important, as now they might not have enough time to spend that gold. They're going to take it anyway, and it's going to make it hard for Woof Woof to establish this vision control in the river. It's currently lights out for STC. So it's a little risky. Wolf Wolf has to be pretty careful, but it looks like that INT aren't really in the area, so Wolf Wolf should be able to knock down some of these control wards.
INT did not take advantage of that. Like, they basically left it open for SEAL Team Chris to go back and come back to the Dragon Pit to try and establish his vision control instead of denying it by warding up their jungle.
Yeah, I almost feel like
Oh, here we go. We got Rakan diving in onto the Sejuani, getting a nice knockup with the Grand Engines. We have Diana diving in on the backline as they jump onto Evolve Noob. They get the Lunar Dash, so they are able to hit the second one, but they don't get the reset on that particular one because they missed the Q. We do see that there are 2 kills picked up, though, as both Jarvan and Sejuani are taken out of this fight.
Yeah, and the kill on the Sejuani is critical because it means the chance to steal this dragon is basically nil. And yeah, we're going to see it go over to the side of STC. I was a little afraid they were using too much on just a Sejuani, but it doesn't matter because the Sejuani was so out of position that they can use all of those cooldowns, and then it's impossible for a re-engage to come out.
Gohan jumping in, basically scaring Lucian away. He just kind of panic dashed his out of there. Now we can see that they're kind of setting up around Baron. It could be that we're looking for a potential bait, or they might attempt to sneak it.
Yeah, they're just... Either way, due diligence to get the vision control in that top side. That's where the next big objective is, so that's where your time, your energy, and most importantly, your wards should go.
Right, and right now we can see that there's getting some vision denial as Jarvan is walking around with a sweeper, clearing it out, trying to clear up as much of this as they possibly can. Now that they know that the rest of INT has decided to show up in the top side, we can see that SEAL Team Chris has decided to back off with Diana and Yone. They're basically leaving the Baron to just kind of do what Baron will. Funny enough, they did start it, INT did, but they're just going to kind of walk away.
Yeah, I think it was just a stray ability that hit it. There was no big attempt to start it. I think it might have actually been a pretty genius idea. They don't have the vision to make this decision, but if they had gone for the Baron there, they might have been able to get it. There were so many members of SEAL Team Chris that are in base, and it's really easy to get caught out like that with trying to take a reset with a critical objective up. Not quite taking advantage of there to the relief of STC fans. And now we're going to continue to see vision skirmishes. Songo might be a little caught out.
Might be a little caught out, but then again, he is Rakan, so he has a lot of tools that he can use to get away.
Yep, so no worries there. We're going to continue to see a lot of skirmishing over the vision in this topside river. We're going to see that currently the waves in mid and bot are pushing out for STC. Gohan's going to go catch the one in the top lane. Soloing!
There we go, jumping across the wall. He was going for the chickens, but decided, you know what? I'm just going to steal the fate of this Kenna and take him out and get my chicken.
Yeah, so that's a pretty big pick now, and it should open up SEAL Team Chris to do basically whatever they want, but and I'm not sure what they're going to do yet. Looks like a death
We
brush
can
is
already see Songo. We see Bow Explode kind of show themselves. I'm not sure if that was intentional or accidental as they stepped out of the bush right there, which means that STC knows that the rest of INT is here. Songo deliberately kind of baiting this out, gets a grand entrance and a 3-man charm. That is a huge amount of damage as Woof Woof takes down Jarvan right there. Trulax as well, going on a killing spree as they can't take down Sejuani. And I am soloing, finishing off Akshan yet again, means that this Baron is just gonna fall.
Yeah, we just see the beautiful wombo combo that SEAL Team Chris has crafted for themselves. It's going to be Rakan's grand entrance, knocking up multiple members of INT, and then Diana comes over the top in an explosion, and they all just die. Just really well played. That's exactly how the fights for SEAL Team Chris should be going. And yeah, with the member down on the side of INT, they're going to look to use this Baron to at least crack an inhibitor, maybe take the game if one more fight goes wrong.
Very, very, very likely. It's going to be kind of interesting to see exactly what it is they decide to do here. I have a gut suspicion that they're going to be looking to pressure this Drake. But if I were STC personally, I would just try and bait it out because you know that INT is going to want to try and stop you to get themselves that soul. So like it's a perfect opportunity for you just kind of be like waiting in the wings with Baron.
Yeah, it seems like it's a bit of an extended reset. They kind of went out and pushed in a wave, and now they're going to take the reset. It's going to result on a bit of lost time on the Baron buff, so we'll have to see them get back out on the map if they actually want to get anything with it. But I'm expecting them to group up in mid, push it out, use it to take the dragon. I think what they should do is keep the Shen top lane, try and get that inner tower. It's worth a lot of gold. Put the rest of the team bot lane, shove that out, use that to get your dragon control.
All right, so it looks like INT is trying to set up around this Baron or this dragon. They've got about 30 seconds now, while STC is just kind of basically setting up around it as well. What they're going to be doing is this is what I mean. Like, we've got the bait kind of right here. We've got the rest of INT in the back line, STC kind of set up at the front. It's just going to be really interesting to see who ends up pulling the trigger.
Yeah, and right now it's Brock Lee that's controlling the wave in the mid lane. Minions do provide vision, so pushing that up does secure them a pretty solid line of vision into the river.
We see Bo Explode losing the frozen armor.
Yep, and
the dragon has started, and it's gone.
Yeah, it just shows how fast they can take it. It looks like
Songo ulted a little bit early. He's only able to catch on to the Sejuani. We have the Shen ulting right now. Kennen diving into the back line. The lightning just coming out and getting a nice bit of stuns, but the damage just isn't there. INT is just getting absolutely shredded right now. Gohan's going to take the almost the full Akshan ultimate, but it's not enough to get the execute off. We do see the shutdown come out, though. So that right there means that Wolf is going to take down the Kenny Hammerspike, picking up the kill on the Lucian. Evolved Noob, I don't think got the assist and the revive on it, though.
No, it didn't, and I think he's lurking around trying to see how he can possibly revive some of his teammates. He knows he can't do this alone, so he has to find a pick on a critical target, but it's not going to be found.
There's no one for him to pick as he just gets taken out.
Yeah, and that should be the game with only Jeff alive. Brock Lee looks like another 13 seconds. Bo Explode's going to be up. Kenny's up in not too long, so STC are going to make the safe play, decide to go to this top side, grab some more gold there, and try and win off of the next Baron, which is going to be in 3
I was about to say I'm having some deja vu from the last game that I casted.
Yeah, very true. So far, they managed to pick up the mid inhibitor for themselves, which is really nice. It's going to basically mean permanent mid priority, which is permanent mid control. And when you have permanent mid control, it makes it very easy to go into these side lanes, go into the jungle, start moving up your vision line. We can see right now the red side control wards are near the Baron and the Dragon Pit. You can start moving them into the jungle where they're going to be more effective and where they're going to see more enemies. It's really difficult for INT to go much farther than their jungle right now.
Yep, and that is double Ocean Drake for the side of SEAL Team Chris, which is a lot of healing that they've got on their side. If they manage to pick up 2 more, which I don't think the game's going to last quite that long, that is going to be just absolutely disgusting with how they're going to be able to engage on these fights and then just walk away as long as they survive just a smidgen. They'll basically be healing it straight back up.
Yeah, for sure. I really like this macro call. This is kind of what I wanted them to do earlier, where you have just Shen alone in the bottom side trying to pick up that tower, but he might get picked on by the bot lane duo. We're going to see that fight go down right now.
Yep, we got a Cataclysm coming out, and we got the Calling as well, but the Calling is slightly misangled, so that means it's not going to get its full charge out. We've got Songo getting a double charm, and we're going to see I Am Soloing picking up a double kill, sealing the fate of these 2 members of INT, and that could just be sealing the fate of this game.
Yeah, with 4 versus 2, it's really going to be up to Kenny, Hammerspike, and Jeff to hold off the onslaught of STC, but they're just now arriving.
They are. We've got the Spirit Veil jumping through, trying to get damage off, not quite able to finish him off. That is going to be Nexus turret number 2 going down. That is the open Nexus available. We have the rest of STC just kind of slashing it to smithereens, and that is going to be game. We are now looking at a 3-9 SEAL Team Chris. They are making it to these playoffs.
Yeah, what a big upset win for STC. This takes a team that looked about as out of it as they could be, and they're now in a prime spot to overtake Coinflip Gaming. I believe they actually, have they already played? Either way, let me check.
I would have to look at the schedule.
Yes, they play next week. It's actually their very next game. They're going to play Coinflip Gaming, and the winner of that one is likely going to be the one that gets to playoff. So a big upset win from the side of STC keeps their playoff dreams alive.
That it does, and it's what a dream it is. You start the season with like 0-7, and you have to work your way up from that. That is definitely like not an easy thing to do. So it has been really exciting watching them go on this journey. I'm looking forward to seeing what they have coming up in this next interview. So stick around, folks. We'll be right back.
Hello everyone, Chris Edgeworth here with TrueLax21, joining us from the victorious SEAL Team. Chris, how are you feeling after the win?
I am more than hyped off of that win, for sure.
Alright, well, Clayton, let's talk about the resurrection as you join us on SEAL Team Chris after a slew of victories, joining the league. When you guys joined 06, I believe, you join us from Team Gorilla Muffins. How does it feel to be on this team as you guys are on this upward momentum towards playoffs?
Honestly, it feels really good. I really enjoy how the team chemistry is really locked in together, and being able to draft solid team comps that we all feel really comfortable playing, and just our team comps and getting on in practice, and just, I mean, it just our chemistry's been actually locked in super solid over the last 3 games.
Speaking of team comps, let's look in then on the draft in this game. So you're getting your special at this point, the Shen, and then also I'm soloing somehow after last game allowed to have Yone again. I really don't understand. And then we saw the experimental Lucian J4 bot lane. What were your thoughts on the draft of what you folks pulled out and what you're up against?
Well, to be honest, when we saw that they didn't ban the Yone, because we literally said in our pre-game or our post-game after yesterday's match, we're like, yeah, you're never gonna play that again. And so when they didn't, we had a whole different draft comp in mind, and as soon as the Yone was up, we're like, question mark? All right, let's do it. Like, obviously, we're just gonna run it back on the Yone, and then we were a little sus on the Jarvan. We weren't sure if they were taking that into the jungle because we know Bo can pretty much play any jungle. So we weren't sure, but we kind of called it might be that. But like the thing is, we felt like we got every single champion we wanted in this draft. So we were super happy with how our draft came out and felt like their draft required them to have a little bit more solid execution.
Yeah, definitely, I agree with that. There was no room for mistakes when you pick a bunch of those champions that can't stand to be behind. So let's look forward then after this this win here. It was really excellent from SEAL Team Chris. Obviously, you folks are on the upward swing towards playoffs, and in the final week, you have the deciding matchup really against Coinflip Gaming. Those would be your contemporaries in that final stretch for the spot, assuming. Unless something happens with Gorilla Muffins. So, what are your thoughts on this final week matchup with Coinflip Gaming and then Terracotta Gaming?
I think Terracotta Gaming is going to be a real tough challenge, personally. Definitely on the momentum train, so we're feeling just hyped going into the next 2 games. Our practices and scrims have been solid, so I think we're looking forward to those 2 games as we can win those. As long as we execute our game plan that we talk about before we're going into the game, if we execute our game like we did today, then we can get those wins for sure.
All right. Well, Clayton, thanks so much for joining us for this interview. Before we step away, any final thoughts, any shout-outs, any banter you hadn't had an opportunity to get out?
I felt pretty disrespected on that early top lane dive, which my coach told me was coming. If Kenan's gonna push my wave in, then they're Sejuani's top and they're gonna dive me. And so I was completely prepped and ready for that. So I felt actually excited when it ended up working out my way.
All right, awesome. Well, thanks so much. Congratulations, TrueLax21 and SEAL Team Chris for this victory. And folks, don't go anywhere. We have an exciting 5th game coming up. This is Terracotta Gaming against Rex Regalis. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back soon.
STC. I'm so hyped.